2006 Honda Odyssey door lock actuator doesn't work with the remote on the driver's side here. So I'm Brian Estes from How To Automotive. I'm going to show you how to repair that. So I'm going to start this job by putting the key in the ignition and rolling down the window on the passenger side here, because when you're working with this stuff you can accidentally lock yourself out of the car real easy. So go ahead and do that, and then we're going to start by removing the door panel. So we're going to start by removing this clip that went behind the door handle here, and once you get that out, then you can get to this couple screws that are here and here, Phillips screws. Take those out. Okay, so next we need to get the master switch out, and right here on the right corner is a little indentation where you put your little screwdriver in. You put it in there and kind of twist it to the side so it'll look like this. So you put the screwdriver in and you twist to the side, and that'll pop it up, and then you can get your hand in there and work it out and then pull the whole switch out. So now that you got the switch off, go ahead and just push the little electrical tabs here and pull the switches, the connectors out, and set this aside for now. And then you want to remove the one Phillips screw that's here, and then remove another Phillips screw that's just under the armrest here. So after removing those screws, now we want to just pop this panel off, and you can put a little pry tool here and pop it backwards, and then it'll lift up. So now we need to pop the actual door panel off itself. So we're going to take a screwdriver or a door panel tool. I have one, but the reason I'm using this is for people that may not have this. I like to use tools that people may have in these videos. So slide it under the door and pry, and it'll pop these little plastic clips out. And once those pop out all the way around the door itself, then you can just put one hand on the right side of the door, one hand on the left side of the door, and lift it off. And one last step is to unscrew the lock here. You just counterclockwise screw it off and take it off, and then take your door panel off. So now that we got the door panel off, we need to unhook this electrical connector here. This is for the speakers in the door. So you just push the little tab and unhook it here. Now that we got that off, we need to get the cable for the inner door handle off. So you're gonna, right here, you're gonna flip this little tab down, flip it out of the way, like that. Then you're gonna pop the clip out of the little mount here, and then right here, there's another clip just like this one here, but smaller. You're gonna pop that off. See if I can do it here. We have to take a little screwdriver and put it in there, pry it out. So you pry it out like that, and then once that's out, then you can pop the cable out of the door panel. Now you can set your door panel aside. So now we need to remove this weather strip paper here. It's like plastic, so it's going to be held on with like glue. So you just want to slowly work it off in a kind of like that. We'll try not to tear the film here, and so work it off all the way around. You need it about halfway off, and kind of you're going to flip it out of the way. Okay, now that you got the moisture barrier peeled back, what we're going to do is we're going to remove the screw here and here. Okay, now that we got these unattached, what we need to do is we need to take the 10mm bolt on the side of the door here off. So take that out, and so once you get the bolt that looks like that out, set that aside. And then on the inside of the door, what we just unbolted was the track, the window track that's right here. So what you're going to do is you're just going to pull, you're going to kind of look at it, see how it's mounted in there. For your own visual, you have to stick your head in there. I'll try to get the camera up there. But you can see how it's mounted in there. Now what we're going to do is pull it out like that. Now that that's off, what we need to do is we need to disconnect our rods. So there's two of them connected. So there's going to be one here, and you're going to disconnect it up high at the handle with this little white tab. So you're going to flip that white tab out of the way and pop the large rod out. And then on the other side, there's going to be a smaller size rod that goes to the key lock. So you'll pop both of those off. So once you have those rods removed like this, they just pop out after you flip it. So once you get the rods popped out like this, after flipping the clip out of this little white tab out of the way, and on the inside one it'll be a yellow tab. So you'll flip those out. And after that, we're going to remove the 3 Phillips screws that hold the actual latch assembly in. So go ahead and remove those. So now that you got the screws out of the side, you need to pop the wire loom that's attached here into the little right here. Just pop that free and unhook the little hook right here and unhook that, and you're gonna, now you can work the whole assembly out of the car or out of the door. And also when you get it out here, you can go ahead and where you get room on it, now you can unplug the electric connectors for the door lock actuator, the two connectors here. So now that we got the latch assembly pulled out of the door, this is the part we're actually changing here. It's just a little servo motor that works the locking mechanism. Here's the genuine Honda part numbers for the driver's door. So what we need to do now is we need to, with a little screwdriver, we need to pop this cover off that's on this side. So this is kind of like an anti-theft cover, so like people can't use Slim Jims and stuff like that. You get in here and kind of unlock the door. It's kind of anti-theft. So we need to pop this cover off, and it's just held on with little clips here, and in a couple spots you'll pry it and it'll pop off. There's also a couple hidden little Phillips screws that were hidden it on the back side. You would take those two off to help get this outer cover off. Okay, after getting the plastic covers off, we need to remove this Phillips screw here, and then right here on the little tabs we need to pry it upwards, and we're going to pry this metal bracket off. Okay, now that the bracket is off, what we need to do is on the sides of the lock actuator, there's those little white tabs. They're right, let's see if I can move it just here. They're right here, and then there's going to be another one on the opposite side. You're going to pry these out a little bit, just a little bit, and then this whole actuator will slide vertical off its, and you can see these little tracks that they line up in. So you're going to lift it off after prying those tabs back. So now we got our new one. It just pushes straight back into the plate where you took the old one out. Just push it on, and the little tabs will lock it in place. So now we're ready to put this metal plate back on, and it has this little ear on the back side, and when you pull the handle, it flips a lever inside this mechanism here. So what you're going to do is the lever is going to flip is right there. So that little ear has to go underneath this. So what I like to do is with my thumb, kind of, you have to push downwards, and that makes this one go upwards. So then you kind of leave it up like that and hold it like that, and then you put the metal bracket on back into the little perch and screw it in, and then you let this go down, and that'll land on top of that little ear. So now that you got that little arm is right here, it's tucked underneath the ear, and you got it back in place. You have to snap it in right here on the corners, and then put your bolt on. And that's now the last step is to put our plastic covers that we took back off, put these back on, and then we can put it back in the door. Okay, now that we got our plastic covers back on, rebolt it back up, it's time to kind of route it back through the, route it back in, and you want to make sure that this cable here routes through this hole and then bolts back up to that clip. So I kind of like to get it in there, kind of in the ballpark or where we used to go. And once I get in the ballpark, I route this cable through, and I'll go ahead and bolt it up first, and that kind of holds everything in the place while it kind of floats in there, and so I can hook it up. So I'll get it in there about where it goes, and go ahead and bolt that one up. So now that that one's bolted up, now you can kind of maneuver it in position, and then go ahead and put your 3 bolts on the outer end. And also while you're doing this, you want to make sure that the rods aren't snagged on anything on the inside. So go ahead and bolt those up. So now that you got it bolted up here on the side, you can go ahead and connect your electrical connectors here. They just push on. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to hook our little rod in first, since it's the furthest away. So go ahead and hook that one up and flip the switch on and the clip on me, and then after that you put your outer rod in, and then you'll put that clip on. So when you're putting the rods on, if you look through this hole, you can actually see what you're doing. So that's a pretty good little tip right there. So now that we got the rods connected back up, we need to put the window track back in. So you'll just slide it back inside the little groove that it came out of. And you can also look through this hole again here and help you see it. If you look behind through here, you can actually see the track. So if you look from kind of an upward angle, you can actually see what you're doing. And then once you get that in, you put your 10mm bolt back in. Okay, now that you got all that connected back up, what you want to do is plug in your master window switch here again, and you want to close the door and use your keys and check all the functions out. So unlock the door with the key, open and unlock the door with the remote, and make sure that the actuator moves up and down and works, and everything works. And the reason why you have to plug this back in is that the wiring goes through the switch. So after everything checks out, then we can put our door panel back on. Okay, after checking their function, put your weather barrier back on. If you have to, you may have to glue it back on. So go ahead and unplug your window switch again and set that aside. Now we're going to put the door panel on. And we're going to start by plugging the electrical connector here that went here, plugging that back in, and then we're going to take our inner door handle and reclip that back on. So now that our inner door handle is on and our electrical connectors for the speakers are hooked up, we're just going to hook the door panel over the edge like that and kind of look through the hole here and make sure that's kind of in the ballpark. And then we're going to push down on the door. So now that it's hung on the door, you want to leave a little, you don't want to pop it on yet, you want to leave it out and pull your wire loom through. And after that's on, then you want to come to the side of the door panel and make sure that all the clips are lined up in a couple spots here. And once that is, you can see that they're lined up. You can, with your hand, you can pop the door panel on. Now that the door panel's on, you can go ahead and put your 4 screws on, the 2 that went here, and then the 2 that went in the handle, and go ahead and put the cover back on here. Okay, now you just want to put this on and push that on, and that completes that cover. Then you want to screw on your lock lever. And that pretty much completes the door lock actuator on a 2006 Honda Odyssey. I'm Brian Essex from How To Automotive, and I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos and encourage you to subscribe for more valuable videos like this. Thank you again.